A new battleground, Kursk, under fire. The war in Ukraine has taken a dramatic turn. Fighting has spilled across the internationally recognized border, with the Kursk region of Russia facing increasing attacks. What was once a distant conflict is now hitting close to home for Russians. The Kremlin, caught off guard by the audacity of Ukrainian forces, is struggling to maintain control of the narrative. For months, the fighting remained largely within Ukraine's borders. However, recent months have seen a shift in strategy. Ukrainian forces have taken the fight to the enemy, targeting Russian military infrastructure and supply lines within Russia itself. This bold move has shaken Moscow and raised concerns about a possible escalation of the conflict. The world watches with bated breath as the situation in Kursk unfolds, holding its breath for what this means for the future of the war. The conflict in Kursk represents a dangerous new phase in the war. It is a stark reminder that this conflict is far from over, and that the stakes continue to rise with each passing day. The strategic significance of Kursk, a historical and military perspective. Kursk occupies a strategically important position, both geographically and militarily. Situated just north of Ukraine's northeastern border, Kursk serves as a crucial logistics and transportation hub for the Russian military. It acts as a gateway for supplies and reinforcements flowing from Russia's heartland to its forces fighting in eastern Ukraine. Historically, Kursk has witnessed its fair share of conflict. During World War II, the region was the site of the Battle of Kursk, one of the largest tank battles in history. This historical context adds another layer of complexity to the current situation. Control over Kursk offers significant advantages to both sides. For Ukraine, striking targets within Kursk disrupts Russia's ability to sustain its military operations in Ukraine. For Russia, maintaining control over Kursk is crucial to preventing further Ukrainian advances and securing its own border.
Ukrainian forces are employing a combination of strategies and tactics in their operations within the Kursk region. Utilizing their knowledge of the terrain and relying on their agility, Ukrainian troops are conducting targeted strikes on key Russian military infrastructure, including ammunition depots, fuel storage facilities, and command centers. These attacks are often carried out by small mobile units operating behind enemy lines. Leveraging drone technology and sophisticated intelligence gathering, Ukrainian forces are able to identify and exploit vulnerabilities in Russia's defenses. By focusing on disrupting Russia's logistical capabilities, Ukraine aims to slow down or even halt the flow of supplies and reinforcements to the front lines in eastern Ukraine. This strategy is designed to weaken the Russian military's ability to sustain its offensive operations.
As the conflict spills into the Kursk region, local civilians are caught in the crossfire. The fighting has resulted in civilian casualties, displacement, and widespread fear and uncertainty. Homes and infrastructure have been damaged or destroyed, leaving many without basic necessities. The Russian government has been accused of downplaying the extent of the damage and the impact on civilians. Independent verification of information coming out of the region is challenging due to restrictions imposed by Russian authorities. The human cost of the conflict in Kursk is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of war. Innocent civilians are bearing the brunt of the violence, their lives upended by a conflict they did not choose.
Section 5. The Kremlin's response. Escalation and propaganda. The Kremlin has responded to Ukraine's actions in Kursk with a combination of military escalation and propaganda. Russian forces have stepped up their attacks along the border, shelling Ukrainian positions and launching airstrikes. At the same time, the Russian government has unleashed a wave of propaganda aimed at discrediting Ukraine and justifying its own actions. State-controlled media outlets portray Ukraine as the aggressor, accusing it of terrorism and deliberately targeting civilians. The Kremlin's narrative seeks to portray Russia as the victim of Western aggression and to rally public support for its military campaign. However, these claims are often met with skepticism, both within Russia and internationally.
Section 6. International implications. Shifting alliances and global concerns. Ukraine's actions in Kursk have sent shockwaves through the international community, prompting a range of reactions from different countries. Western allies have largely expressed their support for Ukraine's right to defend itself, providing military and humanitarian aid. However, some countries have expressed concerns about the potential for further escalation. The conflict has highlighted the delicate balance of power in Eastern Europe and the risks of miscalculation. The conflict in Kursk has also exposed the limitations of international organizations in resolving such crises. The United Nations and other multilateral bodies have called for a peaceful resolution, but their efforts have so far been unsuccessful in bringing about a ceasefire.
Section 7. The fog of war, uncertainty, and potential future scenarios in Kursk. Predicting the future course of the conflict in Kursk is challenging, as the situation remains fluid and unpredictable. However, several potential scenarios could unfold in the coming weeks and months. One possibility is a continued stalemate, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. Another scenario is a further escalation, with Russia launching a major offensive into Ukraine or expanding its attacks on Ukrainian territory. The conflict could also spill over into neighboring countries, either intentionally or accidentally. This would have significant implications for regional stability and could draw NATO into a direct confrontation with Russia.
Section 8. Conclusion: a turning point in the conflict. The fighting in Kursk represents a significant turning point in the war in Ukraine. It demonstrates Ukraine's resolve to defend itself and its willingness to take the fight to the enemy. It also highlights the vulnerabilities of the Russian military and the challenges it faces in sustaining its offensive operations. The outcome of the conflict in Kursk will have far-reaching consequences, not only for Ukraine and Russia, but also for the wider international community. It remains to be seen whether this will be a catalyst for a negotiated settlement, or whether it will lead to a prolonged and even more brutal conflict. One thing is certain: the war in Ukraine is far from over, and the coming months will be crucial in determining its ultimate trajectory. The world watches with a mixture of hope and trepidation, hoping for a swift and peaceful resolution, but bracing for the possibility of further bloodshed and instability.